Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. Now, this is just going to be another basic visual episode. You may notice that there's a logo up here, and if there isn't, well, it seems to be up here. Tell me if you like this, or if you think it should be moved down here, or up here, or over here, or wherever. I didn't really plan on having a Twitch-like thing, but I guess it would be a good thing for branding purposes. But this is just gonna be, just me taking another quiz, and possibly another one if it may be. But first, we're just gonna get into the news, obviously. The first one is just an update for the midterms, because technically they're still going on. These races are still undecided more than 2 weeks after Election Day. The races that are still undecided are the Senate race in Mississippi, New York's 22nd District, New York's 27th District, Georgia's 7th District, and California's 21st District is apparently in a bit of a limbo. Now, personally, I'm not endorsing any candidate in any of those races, but, it's good to be on the lookout. The next news story: Sanders unveils aggressive new bill targeting drug prices. Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Ro Khanna on Tuesday unveiled a bill aimed at aggressively lowering drug prices by stripping monopolies from drug companies if their prices are deemed too excessive. Sanders has long railed against drug companies for their prices, and this bill is one of the most far-reaching proposals aimed at lowering them. The bill would strip monopoly from a company, regardless of any patents, and allow other companies to create cheaper, generic versions of a drug if the price of that drug is higher than the median price in Canada, the UK, Germany, France, and Japan. No other country allows pharmaceutical companies to charge any price they want for any reason they want. Sanders, who could run for president again in 2020, said in a statement, "The greed of the prescription drug industry is literally killing Americans, and it has got to stop," he added. Now, this is a good thing, obviously, and something that Cory Booker's probably going to vote against, because that's what he does. But, come on. Why wouldn't Cory Booker vote against it? All Sanders wants is to give people cheaper drugs. Drugs are bad, remember? And, of course, which congressman does he team up with? Ro Khanna, because Ro Khanna should be Speaker of the House. I'm just saying. Barbara Lee was gonna run. Nancy Pelosi's pretty much in the lead on that. Well, stinks for us, because there's literally no one to challenge Pelosi. Khanna, Grijalva, Lee, any of them could have endorsed it. I would have accepted Blumenauer or Huffman, but nobody. Whatever. The next news story: House Democrats don't know what to make of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Staffers and aides to the party leadership say they love her enthusiasm, but are worried that her approach will threaten caucus unity. She came into Washington like a wrecking ball. Just on Saturday, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez announced that she will be working with progressive activists to bring primary challenges against some of the more conservative Democrats in Congress, her soon-to-be colleagues. This was after she joined a protest in the office of Democratic Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi after she spent a week doggedly documenting congressional orientation on Instagram for her followers and clapping back at many of her critics on Twitter. There are, in other words, several early indications that Ocasio-Cortez will do things differently than the typical legislator, acting as a bomb thrower and agitator in the people's house. It's something that her supporters want very much, and something many of her Democratic colleagues aren't sure how to feel about. According to interviews with a dozen House staffers and aides and members of party leadership, veteran Democrats are happy about the youth and enthusiasm Ocasio-Cortez and her progressive cohort bring to the caucus, but at the same time, they're worried that the approach might be proved to be counterproductive. So basically, they don't like the bickering. They don't like the idea that a person is going to hate the Democrats. They're like, wait, hold on, I thought we were supposed to be stronger together, unity. Now, as the Justice Democrats ad points out, get in line with the people. Fall in line with the people. That's how it works. They want you to align with the progressive unit, the smaller progressives. They don't want you to, fight the, nothing. And a lot of other progressives are trying to do that, especially considering many of them are giving up, they're backing Pelosi for Speaker, back on that. She is, they back her for Speaker basically on the grounds of, we'll keep this, we'll give you speakership if you give us some, a little bit of progressive goodness. And Pelosi's trying to be like, oh, sure. Ilhan Omar have given her some support. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But here's the thing, I'm fully convinced that they're going to fight her when they're going to fight her. But of course they're like, we can't allow Seth Moulton or Steny Hoyer to try and take over. They're not going to help either. So next story. Kansas official who said he was part of the master race resigns. Mr. Beat, is this you? Nah, I'm just kidding. No. That would be kind of a shock. Kansas County Commissioner, whose comment saying he was part of the master race sparked backlash nationwide, said he is resigning from his post. In a resignation letter obtained by NBC News and Leavenworth County Clerk Janet Klansky, now former County Commissioner Lewis Klemp said that he will be stepping down from his post as of 9 a.m. Tuesday. In order to maintain focus and prioritize the needs of the country, I have made the decision to resign, wrote Klemp. I regret my recent comment made during the Leavenworth County Commission meeting and for the negative backlash to the community. Klemp's decision follows various calls from community members following the conversation he had on November 13th with Travisy Pendleton, a Black City planner, at board meeting. According to the video of the meeting, the commissioner had disagreed with Pendleton's proposed development plan and claimed that she shouldn't think he was picking on her because they were part of the master race. This is I guess technically I have to give Klemp one thing. He was more overt in his racism compared to other people. For example, Ron DeSantis. Remember his whole thing about he's like, oh, Florida can't afford to monkey this up. Nobody used the term monkey this up. You did that on purpose. And then Clyde Smith, who was in the Mississippi Senate race, running against Mike Espy. Yeah. Mike Espy is the corporate centrist Democrat, and Clyde Claris Hyde. Her last name is Hyde Smith. I know that for a fact. I think she was talking about the president. She said that if the president invited her to a public hanging, she'd definitely be in the front row seat. And it's like, and she's like, what? I don't get what the big deal is. I just made a comment about lynching. I don't get what the big deal is. It's like, man, you just be overt about it. Just say the N-word. We know you want to. But next story. Outgoing delegate switches to Green Party. The Maryland Green Party will have its first lawmaker in Indianapolis as outgoing Democratic delegate Shane Robinson declared he's switching party affiliations. I think the Green Party allows for broader and more radical thinking on some of the issues that are critical to the humans of the planet today, Robinson said Monday in a phone interview an hour after officially changing his party registration. Now that I'm leaving elected office, I am looking to be in a party that more accurately matches what I would like to see the world become for my children and every generation that comes after it. And to that I say, it's good, but this is information, this is something that you could have done yesterday, which is probably what he did, actually. But what I mean is, like, why do that now? You're leaving office. Do you plan on running for a bigger office? Does he plan on running for a bigger office? I don't think so. So, I mean, if he plans to run for another office in the Green Party, fine, I'm all on board. Go ahead. 2 days ago, actually. So, yeah. It's just, man, you couldn't have picked a different time. But anyways, next story. Jared Polis to live in Boulder, not Colorado governor's mansion. Colorado Governor-elect Jared Polis says that he and his family will live in the Boulder home most of the time instead of moving to the governor's residence in Denver. The Colorado Sun reported Wednesday that Polis should spend the night at the official residence if needed when the legislature is in session. Polis, a Democrat, would be the first chief executive since 1951 to not live in the governor's residence at least part of his term. Republican Bill Owens, who was governor from 1997 to 2007, and Democrat John Hickenlooper, who has been governor since 2010, lived in the mansion for parts of their terms. Hickenlooper was term limited. The Bowater family donated the home to the state in 1959. The first floor is open for public tours and visits. That it? This is literally the article? I mean, yeah, this is a good thing. I don't believe that any particular... I don't believe in living in a mansion, like you're a public servant. Why are you living in a fucking mansion? Why are you fucking living inside of Joe Mansion? That is just, wow. That's just, why are you living inside of Joe Mansion? But, you know, whatever. AMLO decided that he wasn't going to live in the mansion. Polis is going to live in the mansion. Roy Cooper is still adamantly in the mansion. Why couldn't I get a good governor? Why couldn't I get Kenneth Spalding? I had to get Roy Cooper. I mean, he did get rid of Hate Bill too. I'll give him that. Next story. Hillary Clinton. Europe needs tougher immigration laws to stave off nationalism. The former Secretary of State courted controversy by urging a peelback from long-standing progressive policies. Hillary Clinton said that she thinks Europe needs to get a handle on reforming immigration laws in order to fend off another Brexit. Migration is what lit the flame of such nationalist movements, the former U.S. Secretary of State told The Guardian for an upcoming series examining the rise of the populist right in the U.S. and Europe. Conservatism and nationalist ideologies have gotten a boost since Donald Trump won the presidency in 2016, and the UK voted early that year to exit the European Union. Although Clinton ran on progressive immigration platform, she essentially called for retrenchment of those policies in a Guardian interview. I admire the very generous and compassionate approaches that were taken, particularly with leaders like Angela Merkel, she said, praising the German chancellor for her open-door immigration policy. But Clinton added, I think it is fair to say that Europe has done its part and must send a very clear message. We are not going to be able to continue to provide refuge and support. Because if we don't deal with the migration issue, it will come to roil in the body politic. As Hillary Clinton once said, we need to build a wall. But yeah, This isn't going to bode well for Hillary 2020, which people are still trying to force feed down our throats. Nobody wants Hillary Clinton in 2020. Nobody wants it. Nobody will get it. She's literally the one thing that she was claiming, like, oh, I'm not, she's doing. Wow. You literally couldn't even keep that. Like, she was like, oh, I'm not Trump. Well, you're literally telling them, no more immigrants, please, thank you, come again. Ay, Dios mío. So, next story. Senate clash looming over nation's longest judicial vacancy. Senate Republicans are working to soon fill the nation's longest judicial vacancy with a North Carolina lawyer, Rep. NC, whose nomination has raised objections from black lawmakers and civil rights groups concerning about his work defending state laws found to have been discriminated against African Americans. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has helped push 84 of Donald Trump's nominees over the finish line and is itching for more. Well, Democrats helped like 17 of them, but whatever. With just a few weeks to go before Congress adjourns for the year, he has teed up a vote on the nomination of Thomas Farr to serve as District Court Judge in North Carolina. The Senate Judiciary Committee advanced Farr's confirmation with a party line vote back in January, meaning McConnell has waited about 10 months until after the midterm elections to hold a vote on the floor. Senators tend to save their biggest fights in the judicial arena for the Supreme Court and appeals courts nominations, but Farr's nomination has proved to be an exception. It's hard to believe President Trump nominated him. Even it's harder to believe that Senate Republicans are considering it again. Senate Democratic leader Chucky Schumer of New York, in one of his 20 tweets sent out the day, pretty much the whole thing is Farr wants to get in the district court, but he isn't going to because his policies are very racist. And apparently Flake is also voting against this guy because, you know, he wants his last, you know, time here before he considers a run for president in 2020 to be a big thing. So yeah, they really just need one more person, and I think that's going to be Collins or Murkowski or whatever. That's usually who it is, Collins or Murkowski, although I'd bet Murkowski. Although Collins probably will also want to go in because she's going to be having a tough challenge when it comes to the 2018 midterms. Not 2018 midterms, the 2020 election. She's already got a person that I'm considering endorsing, but Zach Ringelstein said that he might run again in 2020, so I'm going to keep my eye out for him. But anyways, now on to the political party of the day. Independent Greens of Virginia, the state affiliate of the Independence Party of the Commonwealth of Virginia. I read that wrong. Sorry, my brain is just woof. It was founded in 2005. Ideology of fiscal conservatism, green politics, and green conservatism. Used to be part of the Independence Party of America, but that party doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, let's see. It's fiscally conservative, calling for a balanced budget and paying the national debt. Their most famous they had a Senate race where they had Glenda Gale Parker run for Senate against George Alien and Jim Webb. They ran a couple of state Senate races. They tried to push a ticket of Michael Bloomberg and Ron Paul, but that didn't turn out so well. The Constitution Party accepted that ballot line pretty soon afterwards. They nominated Jill Stein. Hold on, I gotta read this. If they're fiscally conservative, why would they need to endorse Jill Stein? I guess they really just needed a ballot line. I guess not. They nominated a couple of congressmen. One of them was actually running against Virgil Good. But yeah, that's pretty much it for them. Don't worry, I think this will be a really long portion of the episode. 8 values. And if I did this, and I don't know if I did this test or not, I'm pretty sure I did. Like, my brain remembers taking this test because I remember taking this test a million times. And I remember recording one for this channel. But due to the fact that I can't find it, here we go. The 8 values test. And I'm pretty sure I'm half and half confused on if I took it or not. So I'll just take it now. Basically, the 8 values test. Basically, what I believe is, I think that I'm remembering it because of the political skills test that pretty much took this idea and amplified it. It's a 70-question test, and it judges my 8 values: equality, markets, nation, globe, liberty, authority, tradition, and progress. It gives me my closest match in regards to political ideologies. Basically, it's basically like, say you're a Stalinist. Your test results may be like equality, this, like, have economic equality be like 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. These are like connected. So the more I'm this, the less I'm this. Okay? So let's go. And at the end, I'm probably just gonna mess around with some of the results, just to show you, you know, what other ideologies it can be. If you're wondering why it's different now, it's because I had to go to this because it was loading too long. Okay, here we go. You will be presented with a series of statements. For each one, click the button with your opinion on it. Got it. Okay. Oppression by corporations is more of a concern than oppression by governments. I wouldn't say particularly, like, neither of these are particularly like it's not like I say like corporations or governments is bad. I would say they're both pretty much the same. So I guess I'll pick neutral or unsure. It is necessary for the government to intervene in the economy to protect consumers. Strongly agree. The free markets that free the people. Man, I'd say I disagree. I would say strongly disagree, but I'm not necessarily like that far left. I'd say disagree because I think like the free market will do some good things, you know, like the free market should control whether or not the government should have the ability to intervene in the economy, obviously, but it shouldn't intervene too much. Because let's say the government had complete and utter control about who made the cars. That would take 1,000,000 years to make a car. But they should also have their hand in the jar, so that they could make sure that the cars are safe for the consumer to use. So I'd put just slightly disagree. It is better to maintain a balanced budget than to ensure welfare to all citizens. Yeah, I'd say nah. I don't agree with that. If, like, in my opinion, like I don't care if, like, the price tag for something isn't that much of a concern. If it's a good thing, it's a good thing. I don't care the price tag that goes with it. For example, if we protected the environment, but it bankrupt a particular industry, yes, it'd be bad for that industry, but we did an ultimate good thing in protecting the environment. So I'd say disagree. Publicly funded research is more beneficial to people leaving it to the market. Absolutely. If something is publicly funded, then There is no, like, rich asshole that's like, hey, can you... I mean, no, wait, hold on. I guess I'd say agree, because, I mean, I get the idea. Like, maybe there's a rich person that might desperately want to find the cure for cancer, and then he just funnels all of his money to the research of that. I'll put agree, because I agree more with publicly funding research. International trade is beneficial. Now, what does that mean by international trade? Free trade or fair trade? I assume that this question in particular might mean free trade, to which I say it's kind of a iffy. If it's free trade, no. If it's fair trade, yes. So I'll put neutral. From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. I don't really understand this one, but it's a Karl Marx statement. So let me think about it before I officially say no. From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. I guess it means like, if you have the ability to do something, you need it. Oh, now I think I get it. Everyone who can do something does the thing, but then everybody who needs it gets it. I get it now. I guess I'd have to say agree if that's the sentiment. It would be best if social programs were abolished in favor of private charity. Absolutely not. No. If you want private charity to exist, that is fine. But the question frames it on social programs being abolished, so I'll put strongly disagree. Taxes should be increased on the rich to provide for the poor. Absolutely. Inheritance is a legitimate form of wealth. I don't necessarily know too much about it. All I know is inheritance is just what a rich boy gets when his daddy dies. That's pretty much it. Okay, but is it necessarily legitimate? I don't know. Would it necessarily be legitimate if I, did something and, like, I don't know. I guess I'll put neutral or unsure. This is definitely going to sway my results a lot. Public utilities like roads and electricity should be publicly owned. Yep. Excessive government intervention is a threat to the economy. Kind of. I guess, but the question may frame it in a way that I don't necessarily agree with. I'll put slightly disagree. No, wait. Excessive government intervention is a threat to the economy. I know I literally just said that, but again, the question could be framing it in a way that I don't like. I guess I'll have to say agree. Those with a greater ability to pay should have received better healthcare. No, everybody should have universal healthcare based on, just everybody needs basic healthcare. Quality education is a right of all the people. Yeah, I agree. Sure. The means of production should belong to the workers who use them. That's socialist talk, and I just wrote the whole video on the Socialist Party of America, so I know what socialist talk is. But again, it does make sense in the groundwork of it, but there are some things about it that I don't necessarily agree with entirely. The means of production should belong to the workers who use them. I mean, I guess, technically, yeah. Sure. The United Nations should be abolished. Absolutely not. No. The UN, believe it or not, I think the UN is actually really good. At least on the basic idea of it. Let me explain why I wouldn't withdraw from UN or NATO. Because think about it, if I withdraw from the UN, all of a sudden, a target is put on America's head. So now it's like, wait, why did you leave the UN? What the F, bro? Why'd you leave the UN? If I leave NATO, what the F? Now we're gonna go bankrupt. Thanks to you, America. So no, I strongly disagree. We should not leave the UN. Military action by our nation is often necessary to protect it. Disagree, because I mean, I get some ground of military work, but you know, not too much. I support regional unions such as the European Union. Sure, why not? If the benefits outweigh the problems, sure. It is important to maintain our national sovereignty. Yeah, I mean, I get it. And now, you might be saying, wait a second, but this is the last question, like, go against that? Notice how I'm putting agree on both of them, because I'm kind of in the middle on this. I should have put neutral or unsure, but, you know, I can go back and change that one answer, but I don't want to. It just makes sense. Like, I get the U.S. stay in the U.S., but I also don't necessarily, if Canada and Mexico wanted to, like, form one big continent country, like, wanted to form, like, the North America Union, I'd be fine with it. Sure, go ahead. But, I mean, I guess if we keep our sovereignty, but maybe if we just elect a council or something, I guess it'd just be, like, a very what-if scenario. A united world government would be beneficial to mankind. Yeah, I don't know about world government. You know, I think it's just too big of a sphere. So I guess I'll put disagree, because if it's a united world government, and now I'm going to say, wait, isn't the UN like that? No, the UN is a council, like a group of people that work to get a common goal. But a government in particular, in order to rule that big, you'd probably have to do some dictatorship or something. So I guess I'll put disagree. Or unsure. I'll put unsure. It is more important to retain peaceful relations than further our strength. Absolutely, yes. Peace. Wars do not need to be justified to other countries. Absolutely, they need to be justified. I strongly disagree. They absolutely need to be justified. If we're just going around killing people willy-nilly, then what's the point of being a country? Military spending is a waste of money. Absolutely. We should not be spending any money on the military. We need a pea shooter. Yeah, I do agree that a lot of military spending is a waste of money. But again, like, keep it to a reasonable amount. Like, cut it by at least in half. Like, our current U.S. military budget. Hold on, let me look it up right now. This is our money. This is how much we spent our money as of 2015. You may notice this is our military budget. And this is our military budget based upon, divided amongst other worlds. No, you know what I mean. Other countries, and this is our military budget. We can cut that by at least in half and still have more than China. International aid is a waste of money. Not necessarily. If we're helping people, you know, I don't necessarily see the problem. You know, helping people. I mean, if it's excessive help, I would say yeah, which is why I'm going to put slightly disagree. My nation is great. Meh, you know, sure, it's alright. US could be better. But that's the thing about every passing generation. We want to make it greater than it ever was. That's what I'm saying. Like, Hillary should have used this as her slogan, which is something I'm going to use for my slogan when I run for president. Like people say, make America great again. I say, no. Let's make America greater than it ever was. Research should be conducted on an international scale. Sure, yeah. If research can be conducted on an international scale, it allows, I guess it would allow like any country's particular bias on a certain subject to be overlooked. Yeah, sure. Governments should be accountable to the international community. Yeah, absolutely. The governments need to be accountable. If the U.S. bombs Yemen, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, then we should be held accountable. Tariffs on us. Which is why we shouldn't do that. That's my point. My point is, we need to be held accountable, and other countries need to be held accountable. Even when protesting an authoritarian government, violence is not acceptable. Now you see, this is where it gets into an iffy scenario. I mean, yeah, I agree basically on the level of it. I'd put slightly agree because I get the point of it. But, you know, sometimes a violent protest is the only way to get people's attention. But I'll put agree. Because, you know, if you're a violent protester and you're protesting a particular political view, you're making your political view look bad. My religious values should be spread as much as possible. Nah. Technically, I don't have any religious values. But, you know, I mean, it's basically basing, like, if you're a religious person, do you believe that your religion should be like the state religion? And no, every state should be secular. Our nation's values must be spread as much as possible. Now, here's the thing. What do they mean by spread? I assume they mean by conquest. So, our values are pretty, I guess, technically, yes, but it, of course, would probably mean, like, we'd have to, you know, like, let's bomb them with peace. So I'll put disagree, because imagine, like, if Iraq, or Iran, or somebody wanted to, you know, say, like, our nation's values need to be spread as much as possible, and started bombing all the countries. They might have already done that. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. No, I'm just kidding. It is important to maintain law and order. And law and order candidates are always like the guys that are like, you can't smoke weed. Weed is bad for you. I get the idea, but, you know, I guess I'll put disagree. No, wait. Either of these two answers can fit with me. I'll put neutral or unsure. The general populace makes poor decisions. I would disagree with that. Not strongly disagree, but I would disagree. Basically on the grounds of, if the people want it, the people deserve it. Like, the people... I'm not just saying, like, I don't think the populace... I do think the idea that... I put disagree because there does need to be some kind of check for the people to make sure the decision isn't that poor. You know, like, are you sure? Are you sure? Like, think about it. Like, imagine if the United States had a referendum, like, do we kill every black person? And then everybody votes yes. Then the Congress would go, are you sure? Are you really sure? Okay. Mike XP, Barack Obama, line up. You get what my point is. Like, we need a check, so I'll put disagree. Because I do believe that they're smart enough to know to a certain extent what is best for them. So I'll put disagree. Especially considering, like, you know, the general populace making poor decisions is the reason why the Electoral College exists. So yeah, victimless crimes such as drug abuse should not be crimes at all. Absolutely. The sacrifice of some civil liberties is necessary to protect us from acts of terrorism. Nope. I'm one of those civil libertarian guys that are like, you're not. Snowden is my hero. Snowden is my bae. Okay. Government surveillance is necessary in the modern world. Nope. I don't think it is. Disagree. Because I guess I get basic ones. I'll put disagree because it's gonna happen whether or not. But I morally do not like it. The very existence of the state is a threat to our liberty. Absolutely not. I'm not an ANCAP. I'm not a communist. I'm not that kind of guy. Regardless of your political opinions, it is important to side with your country. Countries aren't necessarily correct all the time. FDR, he's my favorite president, but he, put a bunch of Japanese people in concentration camps. I like how people call them internment camps, but let's just call them what they are, concentration camps. They were held there against their will and, forced to do slave labor and discriminated against, and they had Superman say slap a Jap. So I'll put this. I'll put disagree because treason's not good. So disagree. No authority should be left unquestioned. Absolutely, yes, I absolutely believe every authority needs to be questioned at the entirety. But let me reread the question again because I'm not sure. I'm not because I might click the wrong one. No authority should be left unquestioned. Yes. A hierarchical state is best. No, yes. Merit, I believe, due to the fact that I'm a social democrat, the basic idea is, I believe that everybody should have a starting ground, $15 minimum wage, universal healthcare, free college. Then if you also get rich and then make a lot of money, fine. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily a best case scenario. I guess I'll put slightly agree because, I guess, not necessarily sure. So I guess I'll just click neutral or unsure. It is important that the government follows the majority opinion, even when it's wrong. And now this is a moral question. Again, it's based on thing if the entire people want a race massacre, should the government do it? Now I'll put disagree because again, the government is a check for the people just to make sure that their decision isn't too wrong. It depends on. I guess it'd be a basis by basis situation. The stronger the leadership, the better. Now, strong leadership implies one person. I wouldn't necessarily disagree. Democracy is more than a decision-making process. Yeah. It's how you govern and how you lead a people, how you work together as a community. Environmental regulations are essential. Yes, absolutely. A better world will come from automation, science, and technology. Now, I agree science and technology will make a better world. Automation, I guess technically yes. Science and technology and progression will bring us forward into the future. Let me check. How many questions do I have left? Oh, 44. I only have 44. Man. So I'll put strongly disagree. No, strongly agree. Yes, strongly agree. Dark green. Children should be educated in religious and traditional values. No, screw tradition. Tradition is no. Traditions are of no value on their own. Yeah, sure, they have no value on their own. Religion should play a role in government. Nope. Strictly secular society. Churches should be taxed at the same way other institutions are taxed. Now, I put agree because they have a lot of money that is just left untapped. But I get the idea of separation of church and state. So I'll put slightly agree because in my mind, I know that churches should pay taxes. But I know in the long run, it's not necessarily a good thing because if I can tax them, then that means they get to come in and, take me over and make me into Muslim man or something. Climate change is currently one of the greatest threats of the way of life. Absolutely. Climate change isn't a hoax. Matt Stone and Trey Parker of South Park had to outright admit it. Yep, we're wrong. Climate change is real. It is important that we work as a united world to combat climate change. Absolutely. Society was better many years ago than it is now. No, it was not. Back in the day, you could lynch someone. Back in the day, abortion was criminal. Back in the day, women couldn't vote. Back in the day, let me think of another bad thing. Gays were hung in the streets. Back in the day, the Klan walked down Pennsylvania Avenue. So no, it is not better then. It is better now. It is important that we maintain the traditions of our past. No, I don't care about traditions. If a tradition is broke, and a lot of traditions are broke, don't fix it, you throw it away. And it's important that we think in the long term beyond our lifespans. Yeah, I get the idea. But we do need to also focus on the here and now. So I'll put agree. Reason is more important than maintaining our culture. Absolutely, yeah. Drug use should be legal. Drug use should be legalized or decriminalized. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to do crack cocaine off a woman's butt, I don't care. Just leave me alone. Like Austin Peterson says a quote that I think really resonates with a lot of people. He says that he wants gay married farmers to protect their marijuana fields with fully automatic rifles. So yeah, drug use should be legalized. Same-sex marriage should be legal. Absolutely. No cultures are superior to others. Absolutely. No culture. The white culture isn't better than the black culture. The white culture isn't better than any culture. There's no culture better than any other. Sex outside marriage is immoral. Absolutely. No. Absolutely not. There was a story from 1,000 Ways to Die that literally showed like an Asian couple. They had like a million like pills that made them horny, and then they fucking had heart attacks and died because they waited until marriage. So absolutely not. If we accept migrants at all, it is important that they assimilate into our culture. I'd put disagree. Because Teddy Roosevelt, he also had a good quote about it. And the quote was like how if they're coming here, they should at least be like, I'm American now. I'll still have the Mexican flag here. The Mexican flag can still hang in my home. But I'm also an American now. So I'll put disagree. Abortion should be prohibited in most or all cases. Absolutely not. Abortion and birth, and I don't even mean just abortion, because for some reason people are super like, oh, you just want to legalize abortion. Well, not really. I don't, like, if you kill a fetus, I don't care. But the idea, and for some reason people think like, I watched an episode of Freedom Tunes where he was like, abortion is the only issue that the left thinks is a woman's issue. Not really. But you seem to like to think that. But abortion is a woman's right. Do you know what else is? It's like, I'm not even just like, abortion, kill the baby, kill the baby, kill the baby. I think like we need to have all of the options available. I never understand the basic conservative mindset on this. Like, here's literally the social conservative mindset on regards to literally any form, like, how do we stop teen pregnancy? Well, very simple. We give them access to abortions. That won't necessarily solve the problem of teen pregnancy, but it'll solve the problem of teen moms. Well, no, abortion is against the Christian God. Okay. So, okay, how about this? We give the woman access to birth control and day after pills, so that way when they have sex, they'll be able to take the pill and be done with it. Well, no, because then you'll be killing the fetus when it's not even a fetus yet. That's a sin. Well, okay. Ooh, how about this? We make it so that it's a better access to have the boys to have condoms. That way, when they have sex, they'll just wear a condom and then just throw it away. Well, no, contraceptives are a sin. Did you not hear me when I said that the last time? I don't really get what your point is. Well, I mean, this one also has condoms in it, but how about we teach the kids responsible ways to have sex, which also includes providing them with condoms, birth control, and such. That way, it can cut down on teen pregnancy and also have the cut down on STDs. Well, no, if we teach kids how to have sex properly and with protection and stuff, then that means that they're gonna, go around having sex, and that's just no. Well, okay, what's your solution? Well, very simple. Abstinence. We just tell a kid not to have we just tell a kid, don't have sex because it's immoral and God will kill you. So, and I'm like, you're breeding a school shooter. Think about it. You're breeding a school shooter and a rapist. Think about it. Like, just put yourself in this mentality. You believe that having sexual thoughts about a girl is a sin. It's one of the most bad sins you can do. You think that. That's your mentality. If you think that just having thoughts about a girl is a sin, what's going to stop you from just taking it? Even if she says no for an answer. But if you teach kids responsible ways to have sex, they'll be like, these sexual experiences are natural. And then teach them proper ways to accept rejection. Teach them very values of consent. And not just men, but women too. Teach them the very values of consent and make sex easier to learn for kids. Make it less of a taboo subject. For some reason, it's a very taboo subject that nobody wants to talk about, despite the fact that it is a very integral part of the society of the human race. But anyways, enough talking about sex, let's get back to something more important. Gun ownership should be prohibited for all those without a valid reason. I'm for gun control, so I'll put yes. I guess. Yeah, I'll put agree, because I think the strong agree would imply that, oh, it's a person who's law enforcement who needs a firearm. I'll put agree because, I mean, for shotguns and pistols, fine. I guess it makes sense why you'd want to probably have like a gun in your home. But then with like higher capacity weapons, you probably shouldn't have that. Like, I wouldn't necessarily try to have a debate on that particular topic because I don't really know much about guns per se. I don't want to pull a David Pacman where he's like, "Oh, do you believe that a shoulder-mounted gun should be prohibited?" But David, that's a rocket, not a gun. I'm talking about firearms. That's my Jesse Ventura impression. I could do a lot of political impressions, but I can't do Jesse Ventura. I support single-payer universal health care. Nah, I think healthcare should be mandatory. I don't think healthcare should be free. Are you crazy? Prostitution should be illegal. This is where everybody's probably going to disagree with me, but Maintaining family values is essential. Nope. To chase progress at all costs is dangerous. No, not necessarily. I don't get what they mean by chase progress at all costs. Progress happens when it happens. Genetic modification is a force for good, even on humans. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. I mean, I'm personally not against genetically modified food, even though like most people in my group, like of the Green Party, like people, they hate it. But whatever. I think genetic modification is good, and if we can genetically modify human DNA to better suit environments like drowning, that'd be good, and that'd be cool. We should open our borders to immigration. Yeah, I agree. Agree, because this implies strong, strictly open borders. Like, come on in. Agree implies, come on in. Here's a pathway to citizenship, and if you don't, here's your visa. Just pass this little thingy. I think personally I prefer psychological tests to a, who's the 33rd president of the United States? Governments should be as concerned about foreign citizens than they are about citizens of their borders. I'll put agree because I get the mentality of, like, for example, the government should be concerned if their weapons are being used for harm. But they shouldn't be. But we really, if there's a genocide going on in Yemen, we should at least not intervene on the ground, because we are currently involved in a genocide in Yemen. Many people don't know that, but there's a genocide going on in Yemen. We are literally killing people with our weapons. We should at the very least pull our weapons out of that equation. All people, regardless of factors such as culture or sexuality, should be treated equally. Absolutely. It is important that we further my group's goals above all others. Last question of the time. So I guess I'll go with yeah, because I believe my group ultimately has the best intentions in mind. So I'm gonna click agree, and I'm closing my eyes. Closing my eyes so I don't know which one I'm doing, and okay, gonna open it in 3, 2, 1. Economic access, social, diplomatic access, internationalist, civil access, liberal, societal access, very progressive, and the ideology that I agree with the most is, scroll down, gonna close my eyes again, 3, 2, 1, libertarian socialism. I always get libertarian socialism when I get these. I guess it makes sense. Pretty much every political test that I get puts me in a decently left one with a strong sense of, liberty. Now I'm going to screw around and show you what other axes get you. For example, let's make equality 0. And that gives us libertarian capitalism. Now let's make diplomatic 0. That's again a minus. Sorry, I'm in a dark room. No, I clicked the minus by accident. Chauvinist. Again, libertarian capitalism. Now let's see what happens when I make this 0. Now we're gonna get somewhere. Let's get in the minus. Totalitarian capitalism. Now, let's see if we get this 0. Reactionary. Capitalist fascism. Okay, now let's see what happens if I make this 100. Communist, chauvinist, Stalinism. Yes, boy, yes. Oh, I still have. How about I make this 100? Again, Stalinism and Maoism. Apparently, that's nothing. Now what do I do when I make this 100? Cosmopolitan. Leninism? Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, now how about we make this 100 as well? No. Libertarian communism. Ooh, okay, now we're getting somewhere. I guess I'm an internationalist, even though I thought I was a non-interventionist. Now, if we just make this 50-50-50, it's a centrist. But I need to make... But I want to make this, like, somewhat cool, so I'm gonna make it look like I'm a Stalinist. So that's the one I'm going to be using for the thumbnail. So you're going to be seeing this one in the thumbnail. So it's going to be a trick to basically, wait a minute, you're a Stalinist? What? I thought you weren't. So I guess I'll just end it by looking at libertarian socialist minds. No, why? Stop. Duh. I record these in a dark room, so I literally never, ever do it right. I literally just liked the Facebook page for the Libertarian Socialist Caucus because I like them. They seem cool. Okay, who are the people that are Libertarian Socialists? I mean, the obvious one is Noam Chomsky. You know, like, oh Lord, I'm Noam Chomsky. The platformism. What the heck is that? But I guess that'll be it. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more political content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Quora. I'm going to leave the 8 values test in the comment section below. You send me your results. Unless they're this. Unless your results are this, don't bother.